Hello, welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes. The girls are here. The guy, with some technical stuff, but we're glad everybody's here. Hey, Myra J.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. Young Quinn, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I have a case of the sniffles, but we're here.
Oh
We're here.
wow, wow, a lot going
Dedication. I
on.
love it.
Okay,
I
all
love it.
right. I would hope a case of the sniffles would not keep you from joining us. I
Yes.
one of those
I
people.
am a committed employee to the Yo Side Media Company. Y'all
Okay.
got me.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Myra, I heard you talking before we started about going to see Wakanda
Forever.
Forever. That would
Yes.
be Black Panther too.
Yes.
Both of you saw it, right?
Yes.
Did you
Yes.
enjoy it?
Yes.
Loved it. Loved it. It was a great story. It was a great tribute.
Mhm.
Yeah. I really think Ryan Coogler did a great job.
I did too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I did too.
Hmm.
And I took Yolanda's nieces and nephew,
Okay.
and so ages 10 to 16,
Hmm.
and they were totally engrossed.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
there weren't even any bathroom runs as far as I can tell. So it was really really good. They're Marvel fans. They are movie
Oh,
fans and stuff and all of that. So it was really good, and I thought that Ruth Carter took her talents as the costumer to a whole nother level. The
yeah.
costume designer thought
Yeah.
was just off the chain.
Mhm.
And yeah, take some of Quinn's tissue with you when you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
I refused. No, they weren't going to take me there. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Well, you're tougher than most people I know, and some fellas in the
And,
audience
oh,
too.
trust me, trust me. You got to suck it up hard. You got to take some deep breaths. There's a few parts on it. You got to take some deep breaths. Like, ooh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I'm gonna get through this.
You
Yeah,
got to inhale and exhale.
yes,
Inhale and exhale.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But well worth it. I may even go again. That's how much.
Oh, I'm for sure going
Watch
back.
Yeah,
the first
Yeah.
one again too.
yeah.
Definitely there's some nuggets that were dropped out. I completely forgot that happened in the first movie. So I was just anybody to watch the first one again. So you know
Yeah.
what go on in the second one.
Yeah, that's true. For people who don't go to the movies all the time,
Mhm.
you're not one of those that has seen Black Panther 10 million times with
Yeah.
your kids or whomever.
Mhm.
It would behoove you to go and check out and remind yourself of some things from the original Black
And
Panther.
For the
stay through the ending
Yeah.
credits.
Yeah, as you
Stay
as you
till the
should
end.
for
every
all
Yes,
of the
yeah,
superhero
yes,
movies, you should
yes.
stay till the very, very,
Well,
very,
it's
very end.
it's a LA thing. We always stay,
Oh,
till the
you guys look
end.
at the credits and
Oh,
stuff.
always.
Yeah,
And so, definitely for this, but for Marvel films,
for sure,
absolutely. Yeah.
for sure. Stephen Hill, we were just welcoming you. How you doing?
Spectacular. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Marilyn Monroe?
Melanin Monroe. Thank you.
Okay,
Melanin.
nice,
I
nice. Oh,
like
Melanin.
nice.
that. Like it.
Melanin.
I
Nice,
like
nice.
it.
Melanin. Okay. All right. Quinn has a special guest coming up, so let's get started. Stephen Hill, how are you? What's the word? What's the haps? What's the goings ons?
Spectacular. All's great. You know, we can't talk about the Soul Train Awards yet because Soul Train Awards airs, of
Well,
course,
no, but
November
we're going to
26th.
talk about that in a
We'll
little
get to
bit.
it though. We'll get
Yeah,
to it
we
though.
will.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
spectacular.
Obviously, you were so busy this weekend, you probably did not see Wakanda
I did
Forever.
not. No, I did not shoot Wakanda Forever.
Okay. And what are you eating?
Grapes. This is my lunch. I'm
Okay,
so
because I
sorry.
see your
Are
big
they
claw
good?
going over into
Yo,
something and just
traffic
wondering what that
traffic was
is.
bad. I didn't get to,
I know,
but that's
I
okay.
understand. All
Frozen
right.
grapes are the best snacks, y'all.
What'd you say?
No grapes in the freezer. Dang, I just exposed myself. Never.
That's usually that usually goes in some champagne or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
that's
All
that's
right,
something
let's check out
else.
the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday endeavor to super serve the African American community with the news. This is we talk about politics and we talk about COVID and health and beauty and wellness, as well as social justice. And Quinn is our LGBTQ plus correspondent. And so we will talk about her story and her guest as we move into this episode of It's Sybil. If you'd like to subscribe, and we would love to have you do so, please go to sybilwilkes.com. It's absolutely free. And as I said, you're all are welcome, and it won't cost you a thing. And it makes for a wonderful holiday gift. I'm just saying. All right, let's check out something in your neck of the woods, Stephen Hill. This is a race that I've been watching for a long time, and I'm sure Myra has as well. This is the LA mayor's race, the mayoral race in Los Angeles, and Karen Bass is maintaining her lead and getting closer, as the headline says, inches closer to a historic win. She is leading the former Republican and now independent, kind of moving to the Democratic side just to get as many votes as he possibly can. Rick Caruso, who is a billionaire businessman and real estate developer. It wasn't looking good if you were believing the polls going up to this point, but for sure, this was a race that a lot of folks were watching. And Myra, how quizzical is it that when she wins this race, she will be only the second Black person to be mayor and the first Black woman to be mayor of the world, of the country's second largest city.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I lived there 25 years, and the only Black mayor was Tom Bradley.
Tom Bradley for 20 years, and then he ran for governor, and that was a horrible disappointment for Bradley supporters. But Karen Bass is a former congresswoman, U.S. congresswoman, head of the CBC. She's done it all in the state assembly and everything. Stephen Hill, are you hearing anything? Any updates regarding this race?
It's called. I thought it was called already. Am I wrong? I thought the race was
well,
called.
I have some that have called it and they projected, but I don't have a final call. Michael Stallworth, thank you. Soon to be ex-Congresswoman Karen Bass. I have seen the news sites projected, but not call it. So there you have it. All right. So forget that headline. She's not inching. She's there at the historic position of being the first Black woman to be mayor of the city of Los Angeles.
As reported by the New York Times. I love the LA mayor is reported by the New York Times.
Not the Los Angeles Times, but New York.
No. Right. New York Times is Karen Bass becomes first woman elected as Los Angeles mayor. Not just the first Black woman, the first woman, full stop.
Yeah. First woman, first Black woman, and only the second Black person.
That's right. And the only Black mayor of LA not to have an airport terminal named after her. And that's a shame.
Yet.
It's true. Right.
That could come. Absolutely. Kwyn, we're going to talk about your story about the deadliest year for trans people. Also want people to take a look at the Black and Missing section. We have this weekly. Folks from the Black and Missing Foundation kindly give us information about people that are missing. And of course, we do this because people of color are not given all of the attention that they get from the mainstream media regarding their situations. Today, we talk about Deisha Dickinson. She's been missing from Lantana, Florida, since the 8th of November. She is 31 years old, and she was last seen near the Costco in Lantana on I-95 in Florida, seen wearing a blue dress, white shoes, and yellow socks, and give her medium brown complexion, black hair, and long black hair, and brown eyes. So if you take a look at her, please, in the newsletter, if you have any information, if you think you may have seen her, please go to the Black and Missing Foundation. That is absolutely crucial. One of the other things we talk about in terms of politics, Kwyn's big brother, Cameron, wrote a story about how we voted in the 2022 midterms. In case you who voted don't know how you voted, this gives an idea of how Blacks and younger Black people, especially young Black men and Hispanics, although many voted Democratic, moving a little bit closer to Republicans, and which was seen in the 2020 election with Donald Trump. And 2022 is kind of solidifying some of that support that they're getting from Black and brown people. In the state of Texas, they were gravely afraid and pretty much at the last minute that Hispanics were going to go completely over to the Republican side as they went through a number of issues, including abortion and gun ownership and things like that. I think the thing that might have prevented a lot of people in Texas, especially Hispanic people, was Uvalde, Texas, and the murder of the mass murder of 19 children and 2 school teachers back in May of this year. So, and the little that the governor did regarding this, which I thought might be his undoing, but it was not. But as we said, Hispanic and Black voters continue to vote solidly for Democrats. However, there has been a shift in the Republicans' favor since 2018. Younger Black voters made a substantial 22 percentage points toward Republicans this past election year. This tracks with a recent study conducted by the Pew Research Center. So check out all of that. Let us now move to other things that are going on. Kwyn, this is our What's Going On segment. And in honor of the Transgender Day of Remembrance on November 20th, which you talked about in the newsletter, you also have a very special guest. Would you do the honors?
Yes. Hi, everybody. So Sunday, November 20th is a national recognition, a national moment for us to recognize the lives lost due to transphobia, homophobia, and internalized stigma. It's known as the Transgender Day of Remembrance. And I wanted to bring on an accomplice in the effort when it comes to decolonizing transphobia, but also somebody that has been on the ground and somebody that I look up to in terms of an expert on this work and in this movement, Morgan Sherm. Can I do the drum roll?
Yes.
Hey, Morgan, how are you?
Thank you. You're far too kind, Kwyn.
Thanks for joining us.
I have a whole bio that I'm going to read now. I'm sorry, my voice is cracking. I am sick, y'all. Here we go. Morgan Sherm is a veteran media producer, journalist, product of Tennessee State University.
TSU.
You.
Sorry. You know.
Okay, come on, TSU. Is a product of Tennessee State University and trans activist from Chicago. She has helmed several major hip-hop morning radio shows and leads audio production at events throughout the Midwest. Morgan is an active member at Lighthouse Church of Chicago, a Black LGBTQ plus affirming church where she serves as the sound director. Her advocacy for trans rights has included leading a support group for trans women, tailoring initiatives for Black and brown LGBTQ people, contributing to the development of the Black Queer Equity Index, and working with GLAAD to educate newsrooms on reporting techniques for transgender subjects. Currently, Morgan is working on a curriculum for Black and Latinx faith communities on religion and its impact on stigma and violence toward transgender people. So welcome, Morgan. Thank you so much for having the time and the availability. I want to touch on November 20th first, and then hopefully we can talk about everything you've done with exactly what is the Black Queer Equity Index and GLAAD, which is huge. But yes, let's talk about November 20th. How have you taken a pause or a moment to honor the lives lost? And is there something significant that November 20th means to you as a person that is actively involved with queer liberation in Chicago?
November 20th is Transgender Day of Remembrance. It started in 1998 or 1999. A little fuzzy on the date right now. But it started because of the unfortunate death and murder of a young trans woman. Since that time, the numbers have elevated every year that we've been looking at transgender people being harmed and or murdered as a result of transphobia. Last year was the most deadliest year on record. This year, as of right now, there are 32 trans individuals who have been murdered as a result of transphobia. And I say as of right now because we don't know if certain things are not reported, because you have medical examiners, police departments, and media outlets who may not have all of the information needed. So I would say Transgender Day of Remembrance for me, it is important to reflect, on those lives lost, or those lives that have just been impacted, seeing other lives lost. Um, I've I know what that feels like, and it is something that I wish that we didn't have to do, right? But on the other side of that, right, I think looking at the benefit of it, right now I'm at Lighthouse and I'm at other churches here where they are actively at least recognizing Transgender Day of Remembrance now, which I think is very important for Black and Brown religious spaces. Here in Chicago, for example, they're doing a Transgender Day of Remembrance weekend with a full slate of events where people can learn about the trans community, where we can, uplift those who are a part of the community, and where we can educate those who are allies and want to be better associates, or accomplices for the trans community.
And you touched upon gingerly the responsibility, or not responsibility, I'll say the accountability with reporters and media when it comes to recording the number of deaths. Can you talk about the harm with, using folks' dead names? Can you talk about the harm with like misgendering victims? Can you kind of talk about that type of harm and how it impacts our numbers? Yeah.
I can actually, it's a really short story, which actually I think kind of guided my own activism. My best friend, her name is Karate. She's a Latina trans femme, and she was sharing with me the story that she had heard of a trans woman here in Chicago who was murdered, and no one saw anything directly about her in papers for weeks because the newspaper had identified this person first as a man and utilized their dead name. So when we found the article, I eventually was able to talk to some people at the paper that I had located that had done it, and uncovered that one of the issues with them reporting on this story, she was a non-English speaking Chicagoan, which Chicago is still a major city. And it is kind of unfortunate that they would, not have someone who would be able to, figure out that information or whatever. But the biggest thing was she didn't even have a photo attached to her story. They only had a photo of the young man who killed her. And so reaching out and finding some of her friends or people who'd known her, I was able to gather some photos and share those with GLAAD, Human Rights Campaign, some other organizations, just to put a face on it. Because unfortunately, when we are dead named and misgendered in these publications, a lot of times that same behavior was reflected in the home. And we should be able to at least get some dignity in death, which I don't wish that to continue to be the thing, but that is the reality based on how things are trending thus far.
And the dead name, how would you define it? Because I was going to say a name that a trans person no longer uses after they have.
Yes, a name that no person no longer uses. Usually is a name that one was assigned at birth. But it is inappropriate, to utilize that name when you are speaking to a trans person or any person, right? Who decides to take on a different name because
from their previous chapter of their lives.
Yes, because I would even say we've seen that with Ye, where they continue to identify him, though legally, he has changed his name to Ye, and we're not going to mention him too much. But
I just always say, bless his heart, bless his heart. He's just on my prayer concern list. Long time.
Or Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
That's a bad one. Thanks, Stephen. So you also mentioned the importance of having like this special day, and we don't have at least I haven't heard of like a Black Lives Matter Day. And a lot of times when people bring up the oppression Olympics, it's almost just like, okay, we're doing something for this population of people and we're not doing something for this one. What do you say to the folks that see a conflict in fighting for queer liberation and also fighting for Black liberation? How do you try to voice the importance of that type of connection and the importance of Black and brown cis folks fighting for queer liberation as well as fighting for like Black liberation?
Well, queer liberation is Black liberation because there are Black queer people.
Right.
That would be my,
Yeah.
like, I guess, most clear response. But I do understand the idea of, recognizing that my oppression is not being recognized.
Mhm.
I totally understand what that feels like. Unfortunately, though, I would say people aren't on equal playing fields, right? We see the same thing when it comes to race. We even see it with religion, right? If someone's not Christian, their religion is kind of deemed a different way here in America.
Yeah.
So, what I would offer to those individuals is there is a group, or there is someone who falls within your intersection, but they may be navigating certain other things. And the minute that they get the help they need, that helps everybody, right? Because it lifts everyone up. If I was to use a analogy that I thought of with a box, right? So you have a box and you're trying to move a box from one place to the other. Well, generally you wouldn't grab the box just one hand from the top, right? Because things might fall out, things might tilt over. You're not really navigating it with care. But if you were to grab it from the bottom and lift up from the bottom, you're probably going to be able to get everything to the destination safely.
Exactly.
And so that would I guess be my response, what I would offer to those people.
Okay, as Fannie Lou Hamer said, nobody's free until everybody is free.
Mhm.
Always definitely advocating for intersectionality. And I'm curious, as an activist, what ideal world, what ideal society are you fighting for? Like, what does it sound like? What does it smell like? What does it look like for you, Morgan?
I think that's constantly changing.
Mhm.
I think on a positive note, right? Looking at how trans youth, as they continue to be just inundated with, policies and laws being presented to stop their existence, seeing them fight, flourish, and exist,
Mhm.
it matters to me, right? Even if you look at my name right there and you see she, they, I didn't really take on the they until a few months ago, right?
And why
Though
is
I
that?
though I kind of felt it. I would say I didn't take it on before because as far as how I saw my transness, when I
Mm-hmm.
transitioned, I said I have to be as femme as possible. I have to, for safety purposes, for my ability to try to matriculate back into a media career or some type of career where I could, gain reasonable income, and because it would make other people feel comfortable. That was at the core of that.
Mm. So
Um,
it's not your comfort; it was for others
ever,
in
yeah,
recognizing you.
uh-huh. And so,
Mm.
but seeing younger folks who may identify as trans, but they also may say, hey, I am a non-binary trans mask person, right? That might be a lot of stuff for people to take in, but that is
That's a
their,
lot to take in.
but it is something that reflects them, So me, myself, though I say that, yes, I'm a trans woman, I also say that my pronouns are she, they. And that is, for myself. That doesn't mean to ignore the she, though, right?
Hmm.
There are certain people I know who blatantly try to do that, and I will call you out on that because I'm not allowing that. But for me, that provides me with a level of comfort and identity. And I didn't see that until Generation Z, seeing these young people
I know.
who, stand in who they are, and they say yes, they, them, or a litany of other pronouns, which I don't have all of them, but yeah, that would be the future that I'm looking for. One,
Mm.
right, where people have hope and people are able to navigate with safety. I use navigate a lot. I need to stop. People,
But it's a good. I mean, it's a good description of how you are working
yeah,
your way through all of
yeah,
this.
A maneuver, guide.
maneuver something. But I think it is important that we see a world where people are free to be themselves and be their best selves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I imagine that younger trans people, they will have the ability to elevate within certain professions that might not be reasonable for myself or others right now. But as time goes on, the world that we're trying to make for ourselves, we're actually making better for them. and that's all we can hope for.
Let me ask you this as we wrap this up. How do you feel the media is doing overall? What kind of grade would you give people, television, films, radio, and the areas that you're familiar with? What kind of grades would you give people in the media overall in the way that your community is depicted?
Well, as someone who comes from Black media, right,
Mm-hmm.
I would give it a failing grade. And I would give it a
Mm-hmm.
failing grade because I've seen something that I believe is common amongst us as Black people, where when something we are unsure about or we are aware that we may get critiqued about, ignoring starts to happen, right? Where you ignore this section of the audience, you ignore this reality because you don't know how to best discuss it, or you're afraid you're going to get called out for misgendering somebody, or you're going to say the wrong thing, or you're going to do the wrong thing. So that fear has prevented us from levels of inclusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also it has impacted the empathy that these media outlets are even aware that they need to present to this portion of the audience.
Yeah.
Black and brown trans people, as of 2000 and I believe 19, and this number hopefully has moved up, but I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's just black. I'm gonna say black trans people in America. 34% of them, 34% of them earn under $10,000 a year.
Wow.
That doesn't even sound logical, right?
No.
But it is a reality. We know that the media presents
Yeah.
trans femmes and trans women as hypersexual, deviant, and all of these other things, right?
Right.
But what about the other side of that? I'm a toll worker right now. Like that's normal, right? That's okay. We can have regular jobs and do regular things.
Mm-hmm. Myra, Steve, as we wrap up, anything you want to add?
I do have a question, and I don't know, Morgan, if you can answer this quickly, but when you say they, I'm not clear. Why is it they?
Well, them makes me feel comfortable, to an extent. Like I recognize that my femininity, and I'm talking about myself, my
Mhm.
femininity, my womanhood, may not fit what one would describe as the binary womanhood or femininity. So for me, I'm empowered when I take on my them portion of my, identity.
Got it.
Got it.
That helped. Thank you.
So my question is around the same thing because you're the first person I've ever seen with I don't want to say the thing with the first half of the slash being very specific and the second being less specific. So I'm fascinated by that, and I think one of the challenges that we I'm gonna put myself is the old people have that are Kwyn laughed because I call myself trans ignorant. Right. And so
Wow.
I'm trans ignorant, but I want to learn. My point is like when I say something stupid, it's like it's because I'm ignorant, don't know. I think one of the things is that people tie they to a plural. And it doesn't feel like the way you use it, it's not a plural. I think that's where people get, well, I'm so used to they being more than one person. Is there any part of the plural of the regular of the traditional meaning of they that applies to the way you think about yourself when you use they?
Stephen, I'll throw a joke back at you. I think that kind of like encapsulates it. So when in a heterosexual relationship, when a guy comes in, let's say he comes home at 3 a.m, right? He said he was going to be home at 11 at night, but he came home at 3 a.m, and his girlfriend or his wife is asking, who were you with? And he was like, well, I was with Shannon, they yada yada yada, where that's a singular definition, and usually it may be even used to not indicate whom exactly this person was with.
Mm-hmm.
That joke
Got it.
wasn't delivered in the best way, but
No, but I understand. I understand it.
I got it.
It works with the name Ashley and Billy and
yeah,
everything. I'm with you. I got you. And I got you. Okay. All right. Cool. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Do we wish you a happy National Transgender Day?
No, not that. Now, earlier in the year.
I'm not trying to be funny. That was not a joke.
No, I know.
I really want to know
sorry,
how.
Morgan. I'm so
No, it's okay. It is okay.
I'm
No,
so sorry.
No, you don't
But-
have to apologize.
okay.
I'm coming
Yeah,
out of
apologize.
real ignorance.
Yeah,
I really
right.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm
well,
sorry.
Sybil, I would say earlier in the year, around March, because I talked to Mayor Lightfoot, for Transgender Day of Visibility. That is when you can, like, I can celebrate someone's transness because that is the day of visibility. That happens earlier in the year. This
Got
is
it.
a week of mourning.
So what day is that?
Do not have the exact day off the
Okay,
top of my
okay.
head.
Okay. Well, Quinn will enlighten us.
Quinn will definitely update you.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for joining us. We appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Take care.
All right.
Thank you, Morgan.
We're in the Sony Pros today. I love it. Okay. All right. So let's move to trending topics. Myra J., you're headed to Memphis.
Yes, I am in Memphis this Friday and Saturday with the guys, J. Anthony Brown and George Wallace. We're going to be at Chuckles. And then on Sunday, J. Anthony Brown and I will be in Louisville. Just go to louisvillecomedy.com to get more ticket information.
Okay. All right. You guys will be at Chuckles with my friend Stormy there at V101. So I hope you all have a good time. Steve, before you talk about the American Music Awards, I know you can't tell us too much, but hopefully you'll give us some. We did not talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremonies.
Yeah. Oh, it's spectacular. Look, there were a lot of great acts went in there, including Eurythmics, who put on a great show. I think it's coming on HBO this Friday, I think. Duran had the 50-year-old women acting like they were 14 in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, to me and to the culture, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis got their rightful place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And with an amazingly heartfelt speech by Janet Jackson inducting them. Unfortunately, they did not have any musical representation, a fact that one Miss Shantae Moore Hill was highly upset about because, the Eurythmics got to perform and Pat Benatar got to perform and Duran Duran and Judas Priest. But Jam and Lewis being producers and they can come up with a lot of reasons why it didn't happen. All I know is that there was an offer for it to happen with Janet Jackson and some other people, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame said no for some reason.
Right.
You go.
And Dolly Parton, who initially rejected the offer, the invitation, did change her mind, and she was there to perform everybody's songs, I guess.
That's right. She performed. She made her own rock and roll song, so I thought it was great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good stuff.
So what peaks can you give us into Sunday's American Music Awards?
Wayne Brady is fully engaged and cannot wait. It's going to be a different kind of show because he's going to be so integrated into it. He's an all-around improvisational genius, musical all-around performer, and a chameleon is the best word for him. So great performances by Imagine Dragons, Glorilla, who I'm leaving a whole bunch of people out. I know Lil Baby is in there. Wow, I'm working on so many things that are not the actual performances that I've forgotten who the performances are.
Well, we'll look for it Sunday night on ABC, right?
on ABC, yes.
ABC. And what about the Soul Train Music Awards?
You know what? We have two bites at this apple because one, it just happened, and two, it appears on BET on November 26th. It is an amazing show. Lots of great, people kept saying R&B is alive, and it was very true, but never more true than when Miss Shantae Moore hit the stage. And the floor.
Okay, stop it.
I got no reaction out of that.
And you should not have
She's listening to something else. Never mind.
Good.
Okay, no, sure. Yeah. No, so it's a longer story. Well, I'll tell after the show. But she's just the best out there, and that's unbiased. I guess unbiased. And so it's a wonderful show. If you like R&B, if you're in love with R&B, Ari Lennox did well. Tank and Jay Valentine were awesome as well. New favorite, Coco Jones. So there it is. Was that over tank? Was that a tank thing?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
As they say, fill my tank.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And that's
Still
how
one of
Keith Washington. Keith Washington was there, and I thought of Kwyn. I thought of Kwyn when I saw Keith Washington hugging all up on Shantae Moore. I was like,
yeah, you want to come and make that split there.
I was like, Kwyn, can you help me on this?
Is it his birthday today? Keith Washington? I think I saw that post.
Is it Keith Washington's birthday today?
Ask the Keith Washington
She got a little bit of a delay.
aficionado. Okay.
Is it Keith Washington's birthday today? Yesterday. Yesterday was Keith Washington's birthday.
Yesterday. Well, happy belated birthday, Mr. Washington. All right, so let's move to some things that have happened. And hopefully this has been confirmed. Donald Trump is planning to run for president again, making his third run for the White House. Made it last night at Mar-a-Lago before a crowd of hundreds of
It was the biggest crowd ever.
but it was his staff, it was fans, it was people who invaded the Capitol, and it was also who was missing was number one daughter. Ivanka has announced that she will not be working on the 2024 presidential campaign, and citing it on taking care of her family with Jared.
Mm-hmm.
She said, while I will always love and support my father going forward, I will do so outside the political arena. I am grateful to have had the honor of serving the American people, and I will always be proud of many of our administration's accomplishments. And the fact that you got kind of a lawsuit coming from the New York State Attorney General. Maybe you want to spend some time with that as well. They were, according to the White House, they were his senior advisors, Ivanka and Jared. So no number one daughter, and number two daughter was married over the weekend at Mar-a-Lago, and that was awkward watching that.
Who's she married? Do we know who she married?
A billionaire, and probably a real billionaire. Yeah.
Right.
Did she
probably,
really?
Got more money than her daddy, I'm sure.
It's kind of messed up when you at your daughter's wedding you got penis envy. Oh well.
The news sites are projecting that Republicans have taken control of the House, right, Mr. House Right Hill?
That's correct. House right.
Yes.
House has gone right. 218 right now. It's 218 to 210. So Kevin McCarthy is going to be the new speaker, is presumed to be the new Speaker of the House. One person we know will not be Speaker of the House, Pelosi.
Well, she won't, but she will probably be, and if she's not the minority leader, she will be very close to it, as they are seeking to bring in new blood into the leadership on both sides, but especially in the Democratic Party. The Republicans are projected to take a slim lead in the House. NBC is saying 221 to 214, bringing it out to 435. That is based on a handful of races that have yet to be called. We're still waiting on some of those, and the GOP's win in the lower chamber only became more clear 1 week after Election Day. And so just as a lot of it from the West, something about the way that the rules in the state legislatures, and they make those vote counting rules, Myra, that things kind of slow down there. So and confirmed that it has begun laying off employees. They confirmed that it's on the way 2 days after multiple outlets are saying that they are planning to cut around 10,000 employees this week from
Who's that? Who's doing that?
Amazon.
Which I think it's so weird right before the holidays.
Well, I think it's so weird that it comes after he says he's going to leave all his money to charity, and and his business, is suffering. I don't have the money to tell you how to run your business. I'm just saying. So they said the company looks at all of the businesses as part of the annual operating review process, and on top of the fact that he's trying to buy Steve's football team.
I hope that's true.
As we come to a close, do any of you all remember Virginia McLaurin? She, okay, if I say the Obama White House She was the little
The
black
little old lady. Yes,
that
yes,
was
yes, yes.
pictured dancing with the
Yes.
Obamas at the
Yes.
White
Yes.
House during
Yes.
Black History Month.
Yes.
Best known for the viral video of her meeting then President Barack and then First Lady Michelle
She was
Obama.
over 100 at the time.
She
Correct.
was 106, a
Yes.
sprightly 106. She has passed at the age of 113. He said, so what's the secret to still dancing at 106? She hugs the couple and posed for photos. And she said it was just good living and having the opportunity to do this. She had been in hospice care for several days, according to her family, as they wrote on her Facebook page. And they said she lived an incredibly full life, appreciated all the love she received from people on this Facebook page and everywhere she went before the pandemic hit, of course. And the past few years, she has largely stayed inside and to herself. The Obamas offered their condolences to her in a joint tweet on Tuesday. Rest in peace, Virginia. We know you're up there dancing. And she really was. I mean, she was no bigger than this, right? But big personality and so much love for the Obamas, and just made you think of your own grannies as, if they had the opportunity to meet the Obamas. So may you rest in peace, ma'am. I happened to be there that day at the White House for that Black History Day. And it was just, but she just kind of parted the seas as everybody gave her moment. The nominations for the 2023 Grammy Awards revealed this week, and Stephen Hill and Steve's best friend, Beyonce, led among the nominees with 9 nods for her album Renaissance, and Kendrick Lamar scored 8 noms, while Adele and Brandy Carlisle each got 7. And the Grammys will take place February 3rd in Los Angeles. Steve, will you be producing that as well?
No, but my good friend, a few of my good friends actually, Ben Winston, Raj Kapoor, and Jesse Collins will be in the producers' chairs for that awesome event, and Deion Harmon.
The big three.
Well.
We are closing out early today. I know people may be looking at their clocks, and I just want to say we're doing some production and things like that, and look forward to a special show tomorrow. As we close out with Yogi's Jewels, let go of your perception of how the world should be. I think this is really apropos for today's guest and the subject that Kwyn has brought us. So inhale, acceptance. Exhale, expectation.
Wait, can you read? What's that, Jewel, again? I want to make sure I understand it correctly.
Let go of your perception of how the world should be. Inhale, acceptance.
Okay.
Exhale, expectation.
I don't think Mr. Hill is inhaling.
My perception of how the world should be is kind of dope, so I'm not sure I can sign on to that.
Well, this doesn't include you.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I'll be going then.
Okay. Not all of us are included in every jewel of the day. He's picking up the grapes that he dropped on the floor. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. Kwyn, great guest. Feel better. And bye, Steve. Myra, have fun on the road. Check her out in Memphis and Louisville. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Aloha.
Bye-bye.